Thank you, Priya, for that introduction. You've been very kind. Okay, well, friends, before we start our presentation, I share my presentation. I would like to say a few things about my organization. That is the Mumbai Grahak Panchayat. As you can see, we are an organization for uh, voluntary consumer organization in Asia. And we are having around 33,000 member families as our members across Maharashtra. And we have been involved into activities like consumer education, consumer advocacy, and consumer protection. And at various forums, we have represented consumers, and we are still doing that. Okay, so now let us talk about the Consumer Protection Act that has been recently promulgated, passed by the Government of India. Okay. So, our Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, has said we have to move beyond consumer protection, and the new India will be the place where we'll have best consumer practices and the consumer prosperity. This is the structure of my presentation. We will be talking about the objectives and what all is covered in the Consumer Protection Act. Well, friends, India is a very big market for the world as a whole. And you can see the population of India is around 17.3% world population of the consumer base. So we have a consumer base of 1.38 billion, and that is a huge consumer base, and that is why the people world over are considering India as one of the biggest markets. 50% of the population is under the age of 25, which I am addressing today and happy to do so. And 65% of the consumers are under the age of 35 years. The average age of consumers is 29. And you can see the figures, majority of the population resides in the rural area. And we have multiple communities, multiple, sectors. There are different literacy rates in different areas. So this diversity itself is a challenge for consumer protection. And how that is, what are the risks that the consumers are being hurt? Uh, Ignorance of the consumer laws, unfair market practices, the inadequate policies, weak consumer movements, advocacy organizations. See, there are very few consumer bodies which are very active in this field. Of course, there are many, some are doing very good job, but those are not sufficient to deal with the amount of population that we have in India. Okay, so every time these new products and services are coming, our demands are increasing, our demands are getting, day by day, they are changing. So it is very difficult to cope up, and consumer really doesn't know how to react with these kind of services or products that are being offered to him. And most importantly, the ineffective redressal mechanism. Once, if you go to any court, the consumer court, the statistics shows it takes minimum 3.5 to 4 hours, 4 years to deal with your complaint in the district level itself. So subsequently, you can imagine up to level up to the Supreme Court. So basically, we need to talk about consumer protection. But what is consumer protection? Consumer protection, when we talk about, it is that the consumer should get the value for the money he is spending. He should be made aware of the contents of the goods that he is purchasing. He should know what he is buying. If you buy a packet of, say, chips, he should know what kind of contents are there, how the ingredients are there, whether it is in oil, whether it is in palm oil or what, because all these things are not told. So we need to know what are the contents of the purchase goods. Then whatever goods are being sold to us, they need to be safe. There has to be a guarantee that the goods are safe for our consumption and our use. And of course, we need to be aware of the policies and practices that is affecting the finances. Now, friends, we already had an act for consumer protection in the year 1986. As Priya had introduced, the United Nations had in the year 86 decided that every country should have this kind of law to protect the interest of the consumer. So in the 86 Act, the objective of the act was to provide a better protection for the interest of consumers for the purpose of to make the provisions for the establishment of consumer councils and other authorities for settlement of consumer disputes and for the matters connected therewith. Now, if you see the 2019 Act, 2019 Act just talks about the word protection and the term better has been removed. Now, in the year 86, there was no protection at all, and that was the first time when this kind of legislation had come up in place. Okay, so the legislators feel that maybe they have initiated this act in the year 1986, and the consumers are now in a better position in 2019, so they have removed this term from the objective. So what are the highlights of the new Consumer Protection Act? The scope of the Consumer Protection Act has been widened. The earlier act was having around 30 odd sections. Now we have 100 plus sections in the Consumer Protection Act. The lifestyle is changing, the demands are changing, and thus the necessity to protect the consumers in the changing environment has really necessitated the widening of the scope of the Consumer Protection Act. Now we need to equip ourselves with the machinery to meet the new challenges emerging in the emerging markets, because the way we deal with as goods and products as consumers has changed. Earlier we used to go to the shop to buy things. Now we, at a click of button, everything is available at home. Similar is with the banking transactions. So there are changes in the way we are behaving. As such, the law also needs to be in accordance with our lifestyle that has been changed. Efficiency in grievance redressal has to be there, because we need to have various fora where you can present your grievance and get it redressed. Now, the broader definition of consumer has also been broadened, and it is now including the online and offline consumer both. E-commerce, which was not covered earlier in any of the laws specifically, apart from the Information Technology Act, but now we have specific provisions for the e-commerce transactions. Flexibility in filing the complaints. Now, that is another aspect or highlight which has been provided in this new act. The pecuniary jurisdiction for filing the complaints has been increased. And earlier we did not have any authority who would take care of the consumer rights. Okay. So now a new authority has been established called the Central Consumer Protection Authority. Okay. So as I said, in order to have efficient grievance redressal, and considering the population and considering the existing courts and the mechanism that we have, it is not sufficient to handle the complaints which are filed with the various fora. So the law has now provided for an alternate dispute resolution mechanism, which is called mediation. So we will come to it later. Earlier, there was no liability for any faulty product or product with a defect which was given to the consumer. But now the onus has been cast on various entities who are involved in uh, product manufacturing or labeling. Uh, okay. So then we have a misleading advertisements. We will come to it, which are also coming under the purview of the Consumer Protection Act. And considering the digital movement that India is going through, e-filings in of the complaints has been provided for on the Act. And there is also a mention of unfair terms, contract terms, which was not there earlier. And for everything, we had to go to the Consumer Commission. Now, when we talk about consumer, first let us know who is a consumer. Okay. So consumer is a person who buys any goods or hires or avails any services. So he has to be a person. Consumer cannot be a company. Of course, it can be a company. It is the definition is of person is already given. It is more or less similar to that of the IT Act. Okay. Then we have he has to pay some consideration. The consideration for buying any goods or availing any services or buying any services or hiring any services has to be paid. Now, payment need not be payment in advance. Like, for example, if you're booking any product on, say, Amazon, or you're booking any television or refrigerator, you may not have made the payment, but then you are still considered as a consumer because you are taking an obligation to pay once you book the product. So it is a payment which is promised by you. So it could be a consideration which is already paid, partly paid, like you're paying some advance, or promise to be paid, which will be paid like when we buy any product on the Amazon or any online portal. And if we choose for option of cash on delivery, so that is a promise to be paid. Okay. Then in that event also the person is treated as a consumer. It includes the user of such goods. Not necessary that whatever the goods you are buying are used by yourself. It may be possible that you're buying something for your family. You want to buy something to gift to your friends or family or relatives. So in that event, you are the purchaser, but the user is somebody else. So user is also the consumer. User or the beneficiary of the services is also considered as a consumer. Now, it does not include buying for resale or commercial purposes. So you have to use it for your own self or your family or friends, but you cannot do a business out of such products. And in that case, you are not considered as a consumer. Okay. Now, consumer, there is of course an explanation which says that if a person is buying any goods for his livelihood, like somebody is buying in bulk and selling it in small quantities, but he is doing it on himself. He doesn't have a big office. He doesn't have a big team of people who are managing it. He himself alone, all alone, he is doing it to run his family, to run his livelihood. So in that event, he will be considered as a consumer. And as I said, online, offline, both transactions are covered under the new Consumer Protection Act. Now, when we talk about the consumer, of course, there are certain rights which have been offered to us under the Consumer Protection Act. Now, these rights, you may be aware that we need to be protected against the hazardous and dangerous products which will be harmful for our life and property. We need to be informed. So there's a right to be informed, right to be protected. We need to have a choice. We need to choose. There should not be a monopoly. That if I have to want a mobile set, there have to be 10 different products there from which I should be able to select. Okay. So and that is how the prices would be competitive. Then right to be heard. Right to be heard whenever the company is wanting to come up with some product. So what is the choice of the consumer? What does the consumer want? What are their requirements? So the consumer should be able to tell this to the manufacturer, to the person who is making the product, saying that, see, this is what we want. On that basis, maybe they can come up with new products and services. So that is the right to be heard. So you must have seen many surveys where the companies, where the businesses are asking for your opinion. Okay, tell us what kind of products do you want. You must have seen some popularity surveys for the product. So that is how the businesses try to get information about the demands or requirements of the consumer. So that is the right to being heard. Now, right to seek redressal against any unfair trade practices or restrictive trade practices or unscrupulous exploitation of the consumers. Now, here, whenever there is any unfair trade practice, if you have bought some product and instead of X, something else is being given to you, so this is not correct. It may be, of course, due to mistake also, but at times we see that there are unfair practices used by the businesses. So, in such events, there has to be some redressal mechanism. So we have a right to redress our grievances. And lastly, right to consumer awareness. Consumers have to be made aware of what all is happening in the businesses, what are the new policies, what are the various products that are available in the market, and the information pertaining to those products. So these are the rights which we have. Now, when we talk about rights, and as I said, there could be some dispute. So let us see what is the dispute. Consumer dispute means a dispute where a person against whom a complaint has been made, um, or there has to be a denial or dispute with regard to the allegation contained in the complaint. Now, if I say, ki, okay, look, I purchased a mobile and your mobile is not working properly. It is keeping on, hanging many number of times during the day. But if the manufacturer or the dealer from where I purchased it, he says, no, no, this mobile is perfect, nothing is wrong in it. So whatever allegation I am making, he is denying those allegations. So there becomes a consumer dispute, which what stand I am taking is not agreeable to the opposite party. So there arises a dispute. Now, when we have a dispute, of course, it needs to be addressed. So, how would you address your dispute? So, you have to file a complaint. So, we have to know what is a complaint. So, complaint is an allegation in writing made by the complainant for obtaining any relief provided by the act. Now, relief could be for any unfair contract terms, unfair trade practice, or restrictive trade practice adopted by the trader or the service provider. The goods that have been supplied to you are having some defect in it, or the services that have been provided to you have suffer from deficiency. A trader, a trader or a service provider has overcharged. Like you must have seen earlier, the Bisleri bottles or the packaged drinking water. Whenever you buy, the shopkeeper used to charge 1 or 2 rupees extra for cooling. So that is not allowed. When the MRP is written of rupees 20, so the bottle has to be purchased and sold only for 20 rupees. So then overcharging, if somebody is doing, so you can file a complaint. Complaint could be fixed price by any law, like I said, the example of packaged drinking water, displayed in the goods or any package. So if the package is saying that this packet is for say 20 rupees, so it has to be sold for that purpose, that price only. Then yeah, or it could be something that you and I have agreed a particular price, but then subsequently he is not giving you at the set price. Uh, which generally happens in, these when somebody buys a house, at the time of booking the house, maybe some X amount is being given to you, and subsequently all the hidden charges are added. So that is a wrong practice. So their complaint can be raised. Or goods which are hazardous to life and safety, if it is in contravention of any standards of safety which are required to be complied with, and trader knows that the goods so offered are unsafe to the public. So these are the situations where a complaint can be filed. Now, like the complaints can be filed for goods, it can be filed for services also, and for the product and services, there is a product liability, and the manufacturer or seller of the product and services will be held liable. Now, who can file a complaint? A consumer, obviously, because he is impacted adversely, he is affected, he is aggrieved, he can file a complaint. But apart from the consumer, there are various other entities who can also file a complaint. Now, if a consumer is not in a position to file a complaint himself, he can approach a registered voluntary consumer organization like Mumbai Grahak Panchayat. And Mumbai Grahak Panchayat or any voluntary registered voluntary consumer organization can file a complaint against the wrongdoer. Then we have a sometimes I have purchased some product, okay, but it is, I know it is not suitable for me. It is having some defect, and there are many people who have bought a similar product. In that event, I can file a complaint on behalf of all the people who are affected adversely by buying such faulty or defective product. So that is the class action, or the consumers with same interest can file the action. Okay. Then it may be so that parents are buying products, and minors are using it. So, or minors are also at times, you see them buying the products online. So in that event, parents or local guardians can file a complaint. At times it may so happen that the product has been purchased by a person, and now that he is deceased, so his legal heirs or his legal representative can also file a complaint. Now, the important aspect which this new law has given to us is the constitution of a consumer protection authority. Earlier, we did not have any authority as such where the consumers can file complaints and address their redress their grievances. So the authority has been constituted. It is called the Central Authority, based in New Delhi, and this is the authority which will take care, which will ensure that the consumer rights are protected, and we are not we are in safe hands. We are not cheated. Unfair trade practices are not conducted against us, or if there is any misleading advertisement. So in all these situations, we can file complaint with the CCPA also can suo moto file a complaint. But and of course we can also file the complaints with CCPA, but those are only in the class category. There are also central consumer protection councils. These are the advisory councils for promotion and protection of consumer rights. Now, there is one central protection council at the central level, that is the national level, which is headed by the Ministry of Consumer Affairs, and other members that may be specified. And it is mandatory that they meet at least once in a year. Then we have consumer councils at the state level, where the Minister of State for Consumer Affairs will be the chairperson, and plus other members will be there. Now, states have to meet twice a year at least. And of course, we have the district councils, where the district collector will be the chairperson with the other members, and this district council also has to meet twice a year. Now you will understand looking at the number of meetings that they are required to, the effectiveness of the protection councils. Very ineffective, you know, proposition. So as I was talking about the Central Consumer Protection Authority, Central Consumer Protection Authority is to regulate matters relating to the consumers, violation of rights of consumers, then the unfair trade practices, false or misleading advertisements which are prejudicial to the interest of consumers and general public, then to promote the protection and the enforcement of rights of consumers as a class. Functions of CCPA, there is one chief commissioner, which is the office is active. Of course, they are in a very nascent stage, and they are just coping up with a few staff. So over a period of time, the activities will be full-fledged. So filing complaints before the consumer commissions, they can file complaints, as I said earlier. They can intervene in any of the matter which is pending before the consumer commission in respect of allegations of violation of consumer rights. They can review any matter relating to factors which are inhibiting the enjoyment of consumer protection, consumer rights, or they can conduct investigation, inquiry, and of course, subsequent to investigation and inquiry, they can also levy penalties. And of course, promotion of awareness activities for the consumers is one of their functions. Now, powers. What are the powers this authority has got? Recall power to recall the goods. Very important. If some faulty product is being sold in the market and it is dangerous also, then the authority can recall all the products, all such products. Reimbursement for the prices or goods which are so recalled. So whatever goods have been recalled from the consumers, they have to ensure that the amount has been returned back to the consumer, and they should ensure that they will ensure that such faulty practices or unfair trade practices are discontinued, and of course imposition of penalties, as I said earlier. Complaints to authorities. We are What kind of complaints can be filed with the authority? That is the complaint for violation of consumer rights, for unfair trade practices, and for misleading advertisements. Now, we can file the complaint with the district collector at the district level, regional commissions at the state level, and the central authority, that is the CCPA, at the national level. We have a three-tier consumer dispute redressal mechanism under the Consumer Protection Act. These are the district commission, state commission, and national commission. The district commission has power to entertain complaints for the consumers who has paid a value for goods or services up to rupees 1 crore. So if I have purchased a house for say 2 crores, but I have paid only rupees, say 50 lakhs as advance or towards the purchase of the house. Though my value of my property is 2 crores, but since I have paid only 50 lakhs, my complaint will lie in the district commission. Okay. So likewise, there is a state commission which will entertain complaints from rupees pecuniary value for 1 crore to 10 crore rupees. And the national commission will entertain complaints which are more than 10 crores. We have actually represented to the ministry, and we have said that the district commissions are not actually ready to deal with complaints up to 1 crore, because as of up to before passing of this new act, the district commissions were required to handle cases only up to rupees 20 lakhs. So now their capacity will be increased 5 times. So they are not ready to handle such kind of cases. So we have asked to reduce it to 50 lakhs. But we are still awaiting any response in that direction. Okay. So once you file a complaint with the district or state or national state commission, and the order is not in accordance to your what you expected, or you're not happy with the judgment is not passed in your favor, you can prefer an appeal, and appeal has to be from district commission, it will be lying to the state commission. Appeal has to be made in 45 days. State commission to national commission has to be made in 30 days. And from national commission to Supreme Court has to be made in 30 days. Now, what kind of reliefs can be granted by the commission? Removal of defects if the product is defective, replacement of goods, refund of prices, or the removal of deficiency in services, award of compensation for loss or injury caused to the consumer, then discontinuation of or refraining from the unfair trade practices or the restrictive trade practices, to withdraw any hazardous goods that are being sold in the market, and to cease to manufacture such hazardous and dangerous goods or services, and to issue corrective advertisements, we'll come to it later, and to provide adequate cost to the consumer complainant for filing all the complaints. Now, this is the fee structure. You can see up to 5 lakh rupees if you are filing a complaint, the fees are not there. And maximum fee about 10 crore is 7,500. Okay. So the comparatively, it is a cheaper proposition to get your disputes redressed. A procedure to file a complaint shall be filed within the local jurisdiction where the consumer is residing. Earlier, this was not there. So now this is very important. So the convenience has been given to the consumer wherever you are situated. Because if we many a times it so happens, we are going for outings, we are buying some products from there, and then after coming back from the trip, we realize, oh, this product is not suitable for us, this product is faulty. And if you have to take the seller to task, you earlier you would have had to go to that place to file a consumer complaint, but now the act says that you can file a complaint in the place of your residence, your local jurisdiction. And now in the new act, you can file the complaint electronically also. You need not go there personally and file. And if the complaint is not admitted within 21 days, it is deemed to be admitted. E-filing, there is a portal called edakhil.nic.in where you can file the complaint sitting in the comfort of your house. Formally inaugurated in September 20. And initially, the portal will accept complaints only for the state and national commission. But going forward, of course, the district commissions also will be available on e-portal. Yeah. As I said, mediation. Mediation is a alternate dispute resolution mechanism where an independent and neutral person will facilitate the discussions between the warring parties, and the entire process is confidential. And there are various ways in which mediation can take place. It could be pre-litigation or court annexed mediation or private mediation. The process that has been provided for in the Consumer Protection Act is court annexed mediation. Now, every commission is required to have a mediation cell to provide for this facility. And mediation cell will be constituted at the district level, state level, and national level also. So every district commission will have a mediation cell, state commission also, and the national commission also. They have to empanel the mediators who will be trained by the ministry, and there is a minimum 40 hours training has been specified by or acceptable worldwide. And they are the trained people. I am myself a mediator trained from National Law School, Bangalore. So mediation is really effective, and this is something where the mediator will only facilitate. He will not intervene, or he will not impose his views on the uh, disputing parties. And the parties have to themselves come up with some kind of solution. So, if they are able to arrive at some settlement agreement that is filed with the court and commission, and if then the parties are happy with it and it becomes implementable, and if the parties are not able to arrive at some mutual terms, then the mediator will have to give it back to the commission from which the case has been received, and then the commission will handle the case. Misleading advertisement. Now, what is advertisement? Advertising is any paid form of non-personal presentation or promotion of ideas, goods, or services by an identified sponsor. This is the definition given by the American Marketing Association. Now, of course, we all know advertisements are very important. It gives us information about the product. It gives us suggest different options that are available in the market. It saves our time because we know what we want, and of course, it plays with our psyche. Because it has a bad influence also. Just because your neighbor has bought something, seeing the ad, your child will say, okay, I also want, he has got the. So it of course plays with the psyche of the consumers, and it also motivates and enhances the consumer confidence. So advertisements are definitely important for us to select a product. But when we talk about advertisement, they have to be a correct advertisement, and it should not be a misleading advertisement. Now, misleading advertisement, any advertisement which is having a which deceives a person, which doesn't give the correct picture, which doesn't give the correct nature of the product, or which will injure, which will have some, you know, injuries to the consumers. So such kind of advertisements are not allowed. False advertisements. False advertisements will have some statements which are not correct, or which are unverified facts. Many a times you must have seen what these one of the best rank number one. Now rank number one from what? Under which who has given you that ranking? All these statements are not, these facts are not given. Okay. Or passing of goods and services that they are not saying. You must have heard, seen this ad. Deal with 100 nimbu ki shakti wala. So there is not even a single nimbu in that. No single lemon, but then the advertisement says 100 limes power has been there in the product. So that is passing of something which is not there, or blatant lies, deliberate statements which are incorrect. So these are tactics used by the advertisers. Then how can we say the advertisements are violative of consumer rights? They are affecting our right to choose, because we will choose on the basis of the advertisement, and they are showing us false information. So instead of buying A product, we buy B product, considering that B product's advertisement is very nice, and whatever was shown in the advertisement, I have just believed. So our right to choose has been violated. Right to information has been violated, because they are supposed to give the correct information of the product, which is not given. So our right to information is violated, and right to safety is also violated. There may be certain things in the product which are not safe for us to use, like cosmetic products. It may be unsafe, but then that information is not given in the advertisement, that it may not be safe for certain type of people. Okay. So that right of safety is also violated. And what are the harms that is caused to the consumer? It could be the financial loss. Physically, you may have some issues. Mental or psychological loss, you may have some issues that, after seeing a particular ad and buying that product and going through some experience, then you would say, oh my God, now this is the thing which I will never buy in my life. So it is affecting your psychology also, and of course it harms the economy as a whole, because the consumer is the central point of the economy, and the economy revolves around the consumer. Other deceptive methods adopted by the advertisers are disclaimers are put in very fine print, and false warranties are given. Filters and oversized packaging are done. So when we see the product in the advertisement, it looks very big, but then when we get it, it is a very tiny thing that is given to us. Okay. Then meaningless awards, as I said, ranked number one and awarded the best product of the year. You must have definitely seen such advertisements. Meaningless terms used, inflated price comparison. There are brand factory and all. If you see those ads of brand factory, they will compare. So these are the tactics which are used by the advertisers, and we as consumers have to be really, really very careful. When we see the ad, we have to apply our mind and not be greedy, because when we say sale up to 100, up to 60%, so we always run, and we when we go there, and if you inquire what is this product which is available for 60%, they will say कि no, वो तो अभी खत्म हो गया है, वो अभी नहीं है. Okay, so you should not fall prey for all such misleading advertisement. Deceptive advertisement used to mislead consumers using implied false claims. Again, similar thing, misleading claims are shown either verbally or implied by way of action, or the truth is omitted. Now, complaint for any misleading ads can be filed with the ASCII, that is Advertising Standards Council of India. Before the Consumer Protection Act 2019, we didn't have any place where we could file a complaint. Of course, there was a broadcasting forum where you can file your complaint. If you see it, watch television, there is one runner, you can see if you have any complaints with regard to the contents of this channel, you can file a complaint, and they've given the number also. Then you can file this is the WhatsApp number. Maybe you can note down the number 77 100 12345. Number is very easy to remember also, 7700 12345. So you can file a complaint with ASCII for any misleading or advertisement. Then of course to the consumer commissions you can file the complaint, and you can also complain to the Central Consumer Protection Authority. Now, penalties are also levied, as I said, for the misleading advertisements. The Central Consumer Protection Authority, or the central authority, is satisfied after investigation that the advertisement is false or misleading. These kind of, it may ask the advertiser to impose, to discontinue the advertisement. It will impose penalties on manufacturer or endorser of penalty to the endorser, and or make a subsequent contravention. If the endorser makes a subsequent contravention, then the manufacturer, then the endorser has to pay additional penalty, which may be up to 50 lakhs, or the endorser will be prohibited to do any advertisement for a period of 1 year. Or so this is what the penalties can be levied. Now, if you see this advertisement, Kent RO, they had to withdraw this ad for atta and bread maker, and apologize for depicting maids in a derogatory manner. You must have seen this ad where Hema Malini and Isha Deol, they are saying ki, no, if your maid needs the atta with her hands, it will be infected, germs will be there. So this was not in a good taste for the depicting the maid. So they had to pull down this advertisement on the basis of complaint, and they had to apologize also. Now, MGP in action. MGP has always been aware and on its toes to take people to task and to ensure that the consumers' rights are protected and the consumers are in a safe place. There was an advertisement by Arihant saying that anti-coronavirus mattresses. Now, during the COVID period, you must have seen many people are advertising. The TV is full of advertisements which says that it is immunity protection or COVID protection. So they are not allowed to do such kind of advertisement. We had filed a complaint, and now this ad is banned. Similarly, Corona Killer, there was an ad which says you have to have this Corona Killer instrument in your house or office, and it can kill all the Corona germs, and your house will be safe. So again, there is no basis on which this kind of products are being made and sold. So there was no basis to this advertisement, no sufficient research on the on this in this regard. So this also has been banned. Now the topic of very important and concern of all, and very close to the heart of every people, everyone. I'm sure most of you must be buying all your products through the e-commerce channel. And during the COVID, e-commerce has definitely helped all of us to survive. And earlier, before this 2019 CPA, yeah, we had Information Technology Act, which talked about the liabilities of an intermediary. So whoever is there on the online platform, they were treated as intermediaries, and they had to comply with certain things, guidelines specified in the intermediary regulations, and they would be exempted from any liability. So anything that is put on the website, they are not responsible. So that was the scenario. If they, of course, they observe the due diligence, and if some complaint comes, then they were required to take down that content. Now you will be surprised and alarmed to see this graphical representation of number of complaints that are filed with the National Consumer Helpline with regard to e-commerce. So from 2017 to 2021, July 2021, July 20, the number of complaints have been increased from 17% to 25%. And even during this lockdown period, the complaints have been increased drastically. Now, because of this, the Consumer Protection Act has included e-commerce, and specific rules are there in e-commerce. Rules, there are two models which are called the inventory based model, and you know, I will want to show you the chart. Yeah, the inventory based model and the market based model. Inventory based model is like you order a product, that product will be picked up from the go down and it will be delivered to you. That is the inventory based model. Now market based model is a place where you book a product online, then that portal will contact the seller of that product. That order will be passed on to the seller of the product. The seller of the product will contact the logistic person to deliver the product, and then that product will be delivered to you. So there are various entities who are involved in the market-based product. Okay. Then e-commerce entity, of course, I think I will skip this considering the time frame. Okay. Now, duties of e-commerce entities. Who are having digital presence, they need to be a incorporated company. These are the new rules that Consumer Protection Act has given us for e-commerce. Earlier, we have seen this portals where you don't find any information about the company, or in case you have to file any complaint, you will not know whom to file with, where to go. And of course, there were some fly-by-night portals also. So now that has been taken care of. The e-commerce entity will have to be an incorporated company. It has to have a nodal officer or a senior designated officer, which has to be an Indian resident, and it will be his job to ensure that the compliances are taken care of. Then the portal has to clearly and accessibly display the information regarding the name, address, and contact details of the e-commerce entity. Then the details of grievance officer also has to be mentioned. And when you file any complaint, within 48 hours, the acknowledgement has to be received. They have to send acknowledgement saying that your complaint has been received and we are looking at it. And they have to redress that complaint within a period of 1 month. Now, in case the portal is importing goods, so they have to give the name of the importer also on the portal. And no cancellation charges should be levied by the e-commerce entity if the order is cancelled. They can levy the cancellation charges only if the person from whom the product is purchased by the e-commerce entity for selling it to you. If they have levied any penal charges for cancellation, only in that event they can charge the cancellation charges. Now, you must have seen many places in the web portals, there are pre-filled boxes and you just have to tick mark. So now that is not allowed because it amounts to, we do not read the terms and condition or whatever is given in the portal and pre-filled head. So just put a tick mark and we go ahead because we just want to buy the product. We are not interested to know about the product or the safety conditions. And no manipulation of prices or unfair trade practices. Of course, the marketplace entities due diligence under the IT Act is required. It requires the sellers also to give the undertaking and description of the goods, provide the details of the sellers, because marketplace entities, it will not only have there will be many sellers who are presenting their making their products available for sale. So all the seller information is required to be given in the portal. Then of course duties, they should not offer they should not adopt any unfair trade practices, not make any false representation, and they should not refuse to take back the product if it is not as per the requirement of if there is any defect or the product is a spurious product. You have bought something and that similar product is not given to you, something else is given to you. Okay. So these are the things that the seller has to ensure. Then inventory based again they have to give adequate information about the product, the return policy, the refund policy, or how the product will be delivered, what is the payment mode, and only one price has to be given. They cannot give two different prices for the same product. Then in case any complaint is filed, there has to be a ticket number given to the complaint, and there has to be a mechanism to track the complaint, and no false representation or on refusal should be allowed by the inventory-based e-commerce entity. Now, when we talk about various products and we are talking about the defects, we are talking about the deficiencies. So of course, we have to see that somebody has to take a onus for this product. So what is the liability associated with the product? So product liability, it is the responsibility of the product manufacturer or the product seller or any product or services to compensate for any harm caused to the consumer for selling any defective product or any service which is sold with deficiency. Then product action, what is the action? A complaint can be filed before the consumer commission, and a compensation can be claimed for the product liability. Now harm could be, when we talk about, when we say we can get a compensation, we have to show what is the harm that has been caused to us. So harm could be damage to the property, injury to personal, or death. You have taken some product, you have consumed some product, and it has caused some food poisoning to you, and because of which the person loses his life, or some mental agony or emotional distress he has to go through. In that event also, the person will be treated that harm has been caused. and harm has to be caused to the person or property also. Then breach of warranty, it could be on account of any breach of warranty. They have communicated something and then they have not complied with it. Or it includes any direct incidental or consequential losses also. Who is liable? Product seller is the first entity who is liable. Now, product seller is a person who imports, sells, distributes, leases, installs, prepares, packages, labels, markets, repairs, maintains, or otherwise is involved in the placing such products for commercial purposes. So it is evident that every kind of activity is taken into consideration for the product seller. Then the product liability, of course, as I said, if it is defective or deceptive or hazardous, then causes. What are the causes? Manufacturing defect, it could be defect in design, it could be defective or inadequate warnings have been given, or post-sale duty to warn, like how to use it, usage, if that is not warned properly, in that event, again, there could be a liability which is arising. And nature of loss could be death, bodily harm, or damage to the property, including data. Your data also could go and it has to be commercial and economic loss. Now, unfair terms, contract terms. This is a very important aspect which has been provided in the Consumer Protection Act 2019. We have many times seen that the contract terms are one-sided, they are prejudicial to the interest of the consumers, and we really do not know what to do, because it is either take it or leave it, my way or highway. If you want to have this product, you have to sign this document, otherwise you don't take it. So this was the scenario earlier. When you see this loan documents, when you go to any bank and you ask for the document, loan document, or they are all one-sided terms. If you go book a marriage hall, they will say, okay, these are our terms. The terms are not negotiated. We really do not have any recourse earlier, but now we can file a complaint against this, the person who is having such kind of unfair terms in their contract, and this complaint can be filed to the state and national commission. Thank you very much for your time and inviting me for sharing my thoughts and views on Consumer Protection Act. And if you have any questions, I will be happy to answer it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. So we can start with the questions and answers round. If any student, anybody, any faculty has any questions, you can please ask the questions.
Priya, can I start, because I have lots of questions.
Yes, please, ma'am.
Maybe I'll set the ball rolling so that the others can then probably start off. So first and foremost, Sharmila, thank you so much for this very wonderful and very, very detailed session, wherein you have given us a lot of information. I think this is the second time I'm listening to your talk, but yes. I think each time I listen to you, there is something new that I take away from it. So thank you very much for this wonderful session. So a couple of questions which I had is, in fact, I had listed down some of my questions out over here. Okay. See, whenever we are talking about consumer protection, number one, is it always important that there has to be a formal sale, there has to be a formal buyer and a formal seller? For example, very often we buy things which are informally. That means the seller is not a formal person, and you don't get a bill. So it is something that you purchase across the counter without buying a bill. In such cases, if you spend, you are cheated, then is there any mechanism for redressal?
Very good question. The first and foremost thing is you need to, whenever you buy a goods or products or services, you should always ask for a bill. Bill is mandatory. So when we talk about, complaint, there has to be some document to show that there has been a transaction between two of the parties. Okay, so bill is very important aspect, and even the law says that bill has to be issued. If you see this legal metrology act, it talks about the issuance of bill. So bill is very important, and it will be very difficult to prove in the court of law in such cases when you deal with informal no manner of buying and selling. So in that situation, of course, I have a solution for your answer, for your question. You can go in for mediation, which is, though another alternate dispute resolution mechanism. And of course, it can be informally dealt with, and that will be a private mediation, not a court annexed mediation.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. I think there are questions. There seem to be questions from the students. So I guess students, you can go ahead.
Yeah.
Mayur, I think you
Mayur, can you please
yourself.
put yourself on mute?
Please mute yourself. Are there any questions from the students? Because I have then, in which case I have one more question, and that is, we are talking about consumer protection against. You have said against services, but what about protection against professions? For example, if I go to medical to my doctor, and the diagnosis is wrong, or I go to a hospital and the services I get, I pay a lot of money but the services are inadequate. So that could be one.
Yeah.
Second could be, even in education, parents are paying such high fees, and sometimes what happens is that the school or the institute or the coaching class or any such entity probably does not give them adequate the services offered are not adequate when you compare to the fees that are paid. But there is no formal understanding, there is no formal document which says that if you pay so much, this is what you get. Now when you have situations of this kind, then is it right on the can the consumer, in this case usually either the patient or the student or the client, can that person get a redressal?
Well, yes, very good question, I should say, madam. Yes, these services are included in the Consumer Protection Act. The definition itself talks about service definition, talks about these kind of services. Earlier in the 2086 Act, medical services specific mention was there. This definition does not have that specific term as such, healthcare, but it is included in the list of services. So you can file complaint for any, negligence, medical negligence complaints can be filed against the doctor or the hospital, and you can prove your point and you can get your complaint redressed. Now, as regards education, yes, schools and colleges, they are supposed to give good kind of, value for money, whatever they are required to teach as per the syllabus. So that has to be taught by the school, college, or the faculty also. So if there is any deficiency, as you said, of course you can file a complaint in the consumer commission, and you can get redressal. You can definitely file a complaint, but you have to prove saying what kind of portion was there and what kind of it becomes difficult to prove what has the quality of education. You can say, okay, this is covered, this is not covered, this portion was taught, this portion was not taught at all, and then we are not getting the value for money. Again, so one thing is difficult to prove is the quality of education. Okay. So, plus second thing here, the challenge will be the students are coming from a different background. Their capability is different. Their ability to grasp will be different. So, what a student with good IQ, he may grasp something very fast, and person with less, student with less understanding, he may say, "नहीं, मुझे तो समझ में ही नहीं आया." So these are the challenges. But then yes, if you are able to prove it, nothing like it. But you can approach the consumer commission. But yes, there is a gray area with regard to quality and yeah. Yes, next question.
Yeah. So I think I would like to know if there are any. I'm taking up time by asking questions, but I would.
I have a question, ma'am.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So, Sharmila, ma'am. Hello. Yeah, Sharmila, ma'am.
Yeah,
Am I
yeah.
audible?
Tell me.
Yeah.
Yes.
I wanted to know when we do, you talked about the e-commerce sites. We know there is Amazon and these big giant players. They are very good at, refunding the products, and you get the money also back when the product is not good. But when I talk about these sites which are advertised via Facebook or via Instagram, there are these
Facebook Marketplace.
Exactly, ma'am. Facebook Marketplace. And it has happened with a lot of my friends. And once it has happened with me also, because you see that there are a lot of likes and comments on that specific page. And because that specific company has a different website at all, to promote its stuff, you think it's legible, it's a proper site. You order, and then afterwards, you pay also money in advance, but you don't get the product. So and because I have not checked whether it's an authorized company or not, can I still file a complaint against such companies?
Yes, you can file, because even we have received many complaints where they have, complainants have ordered products, and basically, these Facebook Marketplace, you will find all the women articles. You will find saris, jewelry, dresses. So one complainant, she called from somewhere out of Mumbai, and she's saying, I brought one sari from Facebook, and I ordered that product for 750 rupees. And when the sari was delivered to me, it was something different. And now when I'm trying to place a complaint, that Facebook page is not available. So these kind of things, you have to be careful. You have to ensure before from where you are buying. Because see, now I have told you what are the e-commerce rules that are applicable. Every e-commerce entity has to have a office, has to be an incorporated company. It has to have a grievance redressal officer. There has to be some grievance redressal mechanism. So it cannot be, on the whims and fancies of the e-commerce entities, which was the case earlier. Now the rules have just been, they have come up in, I think, July 2020. So people are, getting acquainted with it, and they will need some time to comply with all these requirements that the new e-commerce rules have been specified. So as consumers, it is up to us that we should not fall prey for such deceptive practices. And we should really ensure that we are buying from a authentic website.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. And I just one small addition, like the way you spoke. Nowadays, we see these ads on the TV that talks about you use this in your home and there will be no corona, problem. It will be corona, COVID free. Your house will be. There are some sprays or whatever they are promoting. And a person like me who's sitting at home and who thinks this is not right, can I actually, call on the National Consumer Helpline and tell them that I want to file a complaint against this advertisement? I can do that.
You can do that. You can do that. You can file a complaint with the National Consumer Helpline. You can also file a complaint with ASCII. I have given the number 7700 12345. So you can file a complaint with ASCII. Fortunately, ASCII complaint committee has a representation of Mumbai Grahak Panchayat. Dr. Archana Sabnis is representing consumers on the committee. So care is being taken, and of course the committee meets and they go through all the complaints and they ensure that justice is given. And if they find that the ad is misleading, they penalize. At times, corrective advertisements is asked to be issued.
Okay.
You must have seen many advertisements. Now, Fair and Lovely ad. Fair and Lovely, now you can see the ad is, the name is Glow and Lovely. Why?
They've
Because there
changed
was
it.
a litigation. No, they have not changed. There was a litigation.
Okay.
How can you say fair? Fairness is again, you are saying the rights of the black.
Yes, yes.
So
Okay.
that means you are saying black skin is bad. So that is why they had to change the name. There was a litigation to that effect.
Okay. Thanks, ma'am, for answering that. Students, do you have any questions? You are please welcome to ask any questions.
Ma'am, Samir here.
Yeah.
Okay, so go.
Yeah, please, Samir.
Sorry for that. Ma'am, I have a question regarding the certificates. So suppose I am a consumer buying something. So do we need to check on certain certificates that the this shopkeeper has or anything? That is what my question is.
What kind of certificate?
Say suppose I want to buy any food product. So do I have to know whether the food products that are sold are correctly labeled or not, whether they have a proper FSSAI number or not?
Yeah,
so what
yeah,
would be
that
the
you have to
procedure?
check on the product. See, label reading is very important. Label reading, if you say, see, I've told you about the rights of consumers, right to information, right to safety, right to choose, or right to grievance redressal. So all these things are mentioned on the wrapper. You should see, because the Food and Safety Act says that all the food products have to need to have that license number, without which they cannot sell the product. So that FSSI number is there on the product. So the wrapper on which food wrapper should carry that FSSAI license number. Then it should have the content. Then it should have the like ingredients. What are the ingredients? And whatever are the ingredients, it is listed in the sequence of descending order. Whatever is maximum, that is given in the first place. So rest all the ingredients are given in the descending order. So then they have to mention the customer care number. They have to mention the license of the product. If the product is manufactured under some license, so who is the licensee of the product? Who has manufactured the product? At times, you may find two license numbers on a product, because they may have issued two licenses for different zones, but you never know this product will be coming from which place. So both the license numbers are given on the wrapper. So all this information we as consumers have to verify, because the law has already said it is mandatory for the manufacturer to give all this information. But how many times are we reading? When we did this exercise, wrapper reading exercises earlier for some other consumer group, this multigrain biscuit. Now, multigrain biscuit, if you see the ingredients of multigrain biscuits, the first product it says wheat and wheat related products. So they're not directly saying it is maida. 49% was maida in it. Then the other ingredients like bajra and ragi and all, they were hardly 15%. So majority क्या जाता है उसमें? तो ये कौन बताएगा आपको? ये आपने खुद ने पढ़ना है ना रैपर पे. And you are very happy. I eat only multigrain biscuits. But in fact, what are you eating? You are eating maida only. You are not eating multigrain. उसमें multigrain का component कितना है? Hardly 50%. उसमें sugar होगा 40%. So these are the things which you have to select. You have to be very aware, and you have to check for all these things. I hope I have been able to answer your query.
Yes, ma'am. But my question was, how many such certificates we need to check? There are 2-3 certificates.
No. For all food items, you have to check the FSI license number. FSSAI. License number is written on the product. To check for that for food items. If you are buying some electrical items, see, I would like to tell that there are certain marks which are given to us by the standards or BIS, that is Bureau of Indian Standards. So these are the various marks, like as you said, certification, these are the marks which are there on the product. Now, if you want to buy a refrigerator, if you want to buy a air conditioner, you have to check for the star rating. You must have seen the advertisements, 5-star rating, BEE 5-star rating. The Bureau of Energy Efficiency has given this kind of rating to these products. So, and it is mandatory for certain products. So, they need to sell this with the BEE rating only. So, higher the rating, the product is good for you because it will consume less energy. And definitely there will be saving on your electrical consumption. Electrical bill आपका उतना कम हो जाएगा. That is one thing. Then if you buy any wool product, so it should have a wool mark. So there is a wool mark, and that mark has to be there on the product. If you are buying a silk product, there is a beautiful butterfly, silk butterfly logo which has to be there on the product. Whenever you buy a silk product, it has to have that silk mark. If you are buying any agro product, like any say masalas or spices, these are all agricultural products. So these products will have an egg mark, that is agricultural mark. So that for that you have to check for the product egg mark. If you are buying say any home appliances, you should look for the ISI mark. If you are buying a iron, if you are buying a geyser, you have to look for the ISI mark. That is the Indian standard identification. So ISI mark has to be there. Even for the Bisleri bottle, packaged drinking water, there are two different marks for the packaged drinking water and the mineral water. So next time when you buy any packaged drinking water, just check which kind of ISI mark is there on the bottle, whether it is, because हम बोलते हैं mineral water, it is not all bottled water is mineral water. That is only a packaged drinking water. So you have to be aware of what you are consuming. This is your responsibility to check what is there in the product that you are buying. So all these marks you have to check. Only then that will give, because government ने तो law बना दिया भाई, आपको बता भी दिया कि आपको किसके लिए क्या चेक करना है. अब ये आपकी और मेरी जिम्मेदारी बनती है कि हम इस बात को चेक करें कि भाई हमको जो प्रोडक्ट मिल रहा है वो सही मिल रहा है या नहीं मिल रहा है.
Right, ma'am. Okay. Thank you very much. Yes, ma'am. And my second question was, there are some products that they sell above the MRP price. Like most usually is the milk. So milk, they say that they have to refrigerate it, and therefore they sell at a rupee or 1.5 rupees more. So is that allowed or?
No, that is not allowed. You can file a complaint with the legal metrology department. You can file an online complaint. You can give the details of the shop or place from where you are buying a milk, because MRP का मतलब क्या है? Maximum retail price. So there cannot be anything above MRP. Okay. So you can complain, but of course, whenever you buy, you take a bill from that person, and then you can send that picture of that bill to the legal metrology department and file a complaint against that shopkeeper. Because whatever commission they are getting commission only for this purpose. आपको आपका जो cost आपको लग रहा है milk को refrigerate करने के लिए, cooling condition में रखने के लिए, for that only some commission is given, no, apart from your profit. So it is included in the MRP, and if somebody is charging extra, that is not allowed. That is wrong practice, unfair trade practice, and it needs to be complained to the legal metrology department. Earlier,
Okay.
जो weights and standard measures हुआ करता था, now it is called legal metrology.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Any more
Ma'am,
questions?
I had a question specifically regarding advertisement. So these days, because of social media, etc., there's a lot of influencers online that give reviews, and sometimes these people are paid to give a positive review for a certain brand, and they don't necessarily disclose that they have been paid to do that. So can they be held responsible, and can they be complained against?
Yes, yes, yes. These people are called influencers, YouTubers, or they are prosumers. A term is used, prosumer. They are consumers and professionals also. Okay, so it's a combination of two, prosumers. So these people, of course, there is no specific mention in the regulations as such. But yes, we have filed our responses or comments with regard to the rules, draft rules that have been issued for misleading advertisement. So we have proposed, but I don't know whether it will be, it should find place in the final rules that are published. But yes, I also am of the opinion that they are influencers and it is nothing else but advertisement. And because of their, video or their talking or their review, there are so many people who are their followers, and they would like to before buying a product, there are people who would like to see the reviews of these people, and they really get influenced by them. And of course, as you said, they are paid by the product manufacturer. So to my understanding, they should be held responsible.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Also, another question regarding advertisement. So you mentioned in your talk that some cosmetics, etc., can cause like physical and mental harm. So specifically regarding fairness creams, why is it that even though there's so much extensive research about the physical and mental harms caused by these products, why are they still allowing them to advertise and sell these products?
Because we are willing to buy. See, we have to decide. We as consumers, don't we know that it is not good for cosmetics are not good, chemicals are not good for our skin? Are we not aware that these cosmetics are going to have some reaction on our skin? So in that case, what we do, we try to go for higher things. SPF किसमें सबसे ज़्यादा है वो देखो. We try and buy that product, but higher SPF may not be suitable for Indian conditions. Right? It is good for places which is having extreme cold. India does not have that kind of climatic condition. So we do not need, our Indian skin, Indian climate doesn't need that kind of SPF. But what we feel, हमारा attitude, mentality कैसे होता है कि भाई हमको अच्छा दिखना है. That is that urge to look nice, to urge to look beautiful, to have a fairer skin. That is, in spite of the fact that we know these are not good for us to apply. Not only the cosmetic products, all other products also use it. Everything has got some or the other thing which is harmful. But we do consume, no? They are saying that bakery products are not good. बट हम बिस्किट्स ले रहे हैं, हम क्या ले रहे हैं, मल्टीग्रेन वाला ले रहे हैं. बट मल्टीग्रेन में हम अल्टीमेटली क्या खा रहे हैं, मैदा खा रहे हैं. वी कंज्यूम ब्राउन ब्रेड. आई डोंट ईट व्हाइट ब्रेड, आई ईट ओनली ब्राउन ब्रेड. ब्राउन ब्रेड में क्या है, आप देखिए, कंटेंट पढ़िए. व्हीट से ब्रेड बन ही नहीं सकता है. इट विल बी हार्ड एज अ रॉक. तो वो व्हीट से बन ही नहीं सकता, उसमें भी मैदा होता है. दे ऐड कैरेमल टू मेक दैट ब्राउन कलर. So there are products till the time we stop buying, the manufacturers will manufacture. See, there are people who are wanting to buy these kind of products. The people who are aware, they do not buy. So ये हम लोग ऐसे बैन नहीं कर सकते उसको. Don't we know consuming tobacco is dangerous to health? एक caution डाल देते हैं, tobacco causes cancer. How many people have left smoking? How many people have left consuming tobacco? So this is the calculated risk that they are taking in spite of knowing that this product is harmful for them. Now here as a consumer protection का अगर बात करते हैं, so what law says when these kind of products are there which may have some adverse effect on the person, on the consumer, it is their responsibility to make the consumer aware of the hardships that or the reactions. It may have burning reaction, it may have your skin may turn dark. So whatever the risks involved are there, they have to mention it in the wrapper. So that is the right to information that we have. एंड ये सब इंफॉर्मेशन पढ़ने के बाद भी अगर हम वो क्रीम लगा रहे हैं तो देन वी आर फूल. इट इज नॉट फॉर द मैन्युफैक्चरर टू बी ब्लेम. So we have to be aware, we have to educate ourselves, we have to know the product before buying, and we have to consider whether it is good for us or not. I hope that answers your query.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Hi, Sharmila, ma'am.
Hello.
Abhinav here.
Yeah.
Ma'am, I had a question regarding the e-commerce site policies, basically.
Yeah.
So it goes like, if you go for exchanging a phone for a new one on Flipkart, it has a terms that you have to comply with 3 conditions, abiding to which you can exchange your old phone with a new one.
Okay.
So what happened, basically, I ordered for a new phone and the person came to my door and I was complying with all the 3 conditions which they had mentioned, but
Okay.
he rejected my phone on the basis that it had scratches, which was not mentioned in their terms of exchange.
Okay.
So I refused to take that order and I complained it to the Flipkart guys.
Okay.
And after 2 days, they come up with a resolution that this is not our policy, it is the policy of the some different company, which on basis of which they can cancel my order. But basically, I'm buying it from Flipkart, which mentions only 3 policies to be abided for.
Yeah. See,
Okay.
earlier all these things, yeah. Have you done? Or you have to say something more?
Okay, you can.
Okay. See, earlier this definitely used to happen that ये मेरा नहीं है, ये तो वो seller का product policy है. But now, as you must have seen in my presentation, the seller's information also has to be given in the Flipkart. Now, Flipkart is what? It's a marketplace. It doesn't have its own products. It will buy from somebody and give it to you. Okay. So if that seller is having some additional conditions, those conditions have to be mentioned on the website. It cannot be that they only give their conditions and they not suppress the conditions of the seller. If this is a condition of the seller, that has to be there on the website. So you can write
if
to
they don't
Flipkart
mention
saying
it, ma'am, then what happens?
No, now taking the shelter of these e-commerce rules, you have to say that you have to give seller information and seller information has not been given. So you please, whatever you wanted to, you are not responsible, or you can say it is your responsibility to display the seller's conditions also. And since you have not given, so I have abided by your terms and condition, and you are liable to take my old phone and give me the new one.
But they are not listening to it. And what happened after it was basically they simply cancelled my order, that they cannot help it out, and even I cannot do anything for it. And it was the time of lockdown wherein you could get a handset for waiting for a month or 2.
Okay. Okay.
So what could be done at that case?
Technically, you can file a complaint against the Flipkart and the seller both in the district commission, or you can file a complaint with any consumer protection organization, and maybe they can intervene. At times, it happens. It so happens that by intervention of a consumer protection organization, also the complaint gets resolved. we are getting many complaints. We are having around 10 consumer guidance centers in Mumbai and Pune. So there we have our volunteers who are addressing the complaints and who are guiding the complainants, consumers who are aggrieved. They tell us their complaint and then we guide them as to how it is to be done. So basically, there are three levels that we see. First is we advise the consumers like what they have to do. They have to write letters. Maybe you can write a letter, formal letter to Flipkart and that seller on the address mentioned in the website. Okay, and then if there is no response to the consumer's letters from the business or from the manufacturer or trader, then we write a letter to the entity saying that, see, this is the complaint we have received, and we feel that there is your responsibility to do whatever depending upon the complaint, and we tell them this is in violation of so and so section, and you are supposed to give the refund or replace the good or give service or whatever is the complaint. We write that, and we give them time to comply with our letter. But many times it is getting complied with also, and at times नहीं भी होता है, क्योंकि दुनिया में हर प्रकार के लोग होते हैं, तो कोई सुनता है कोई नहीं सुनता है. So if it is getting settled at our level, well and fine. But then if it doesn't get settled at even after our intervention, then we advise the complainant to file a complaint with the consumer forum, like Consumer Commission, District Commission, or State Commission or National Commission, depending upon the amount involved, pecuniary jurisdiction. So that is how we deal with it.
Ma'am, so how much time can we basically estimate for this thing to be redressed? Like going through all these stages would take a long time.
Of course, takes a long time. Consumer Act says that you can file a complaint within 2 years from the date of dispute. Okay. So within 2 years, you have to file the complaint. That is the limitation period. And the consumer complaint filed with the FORA, they are also supposed to settle the complaint within 90 days. But that doesn't happen. Consumer courts are heavily crowded and they do not have the proper infrastructure. So basically, district commission, if you file a complaint, it will take anywhere between 3 to 4 years to settle, for your complaint to come to its logical conclusion. We still would not know the judgment or order is passed in whose favor, and order ka decision kya hoga pata nahi, but making an effort is in our hands, and we should do that. Hamara ye jo lethargy hai na, that is the main cause for the businesses to act or to take us to task. We are allowing them to fool us because we are not aware. We are, of course, I understand the redressal mechanism is a time-consuming mechanism. In other states, immediately they will say, you will talk to my lawyer. My lawyer will talk to you. I will not talk. So, and immediately they file complaints and they are getting redress. Maybe sooner or later, even we will have that kind of situation in India, because now we have already started this e-commerce, and then the redressal will also happen in the online mode. We have ourselves made presentations to the Ministry of Consumer Affairs saying that when the transactions are done on e-commerce at a click of a button, the redressal of grievances should also be on the click of a button. And we have proposed online dispute resolution. Let us see when it happens, but we have already made presentations to the Ministry of Consumer Affairs, and we keep on writing to them till we will keep following till it sees the light of the day.
And ma'am, I had another question.
Abhinav,
is there any central
Yeah, yes, I think Abhinav, we are actually, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I'm really, and I know a lot of students have a lot of questions because everyone is doing so much of, buying via online things. But I think this would be a right time to conclude the session. And Abhinav, I'll make sure that I'll be sharing the details, the contact details of Miss Sharmila with students, if in case, as in they can send their queries via mail or something. And I'm sure
Yeah,
Sharmila
I
ma'am would
think,
be
Okay,
more
okay,
than
Swati,
happy.
that's really fine.
Definitely. Definitely. I have shared my email ID in the presentation itself. So you can file your complaints or whatever, you can share it on the email ID. We can definitely respond to your queries. And or I can say if Priya or somebody can collectively make the queries and they can be sent to me, and collectively I will address all the queries, because there will be many repetition also,
Exactly,
right?
ma'am. Yes, yes.
So that also can be done. I have no issues. We will definitely address those queries.
Okay. So, ma'am, now I would request Swati to please present the vote of thanks. Swati, over to you.
Yeah,
Thank you, Priya ma'am. Yes.
Before Swati begins her vote of thanks, I would like to take this opportunity to thank DBIT Technology Committee for organizing this session. And I'm really happy that you have chosen this topic for today's dissertation. And I'm thankful to Prasanna Nambiar Madam for considering me to deliver this lecture and giving me this opportunity. I also thank my organization, Mumbai Graf Panchayat, for giving me this opportunity to speak on this wonderful subject, which is close to all of us. And thank you, students. Thank you, Priya. You've been very cooperative and for all the coordination. And thank you, students, for giving me a patient hearing. Thank you. Maybe this is the beginning. We can have many more sessions. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes, Swati, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharmila, and that was very lovely. Thank you for sharing your expertise and your insight about this very niche subject that not a lot of us know a lot about. Thank you to Dr. Nambiar for organizing this event, because it's really valuable that we're getting all of this knowledge beyond what we can even get from any textbook that we might have. And also finally, thank you to Priya ma'am for organizing the logistical aspects, and to Taha for managing the technical.
Thank you. Thank you, Sharmila ma'am. Thank you, Prasanna ma'am. Thank you, my dear students. Thank you, everyone, for being a part of this session.
Yeah, thanks, Sharmila, once again, very much for your very valuable inputs. And I'm sure we'll be having you come more often to the campus, because we want to ensure that right from the first year, our students are learn what it means to become consumers who are aware of what they buy. And this is an important role that they need to play when they get into organizations, and also as part of their daily lives. So thank you very much for the initial understanding that you have given our students. I'm sure today all of us are much more aware consumers after listening to you. We know what our rights are. So thank you so much. And thanks everybody for joining in. Thanks dear faculty for being part of this. Thanks Priya. Thanks technical committee. Yeah. Okay. I think we can continue.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thanks everyone. Bye, Sharmila ma'am.
Thank you and bye.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Thank you, ma'am.